Scott Noble taking on Mike Desantos. Mike is noticeably larger, 7-inch reach advantage. That is what we'd call statistically significant. And then you see someone like Scott Noble come out with the Melvin Manhoef Roman Gladiator trunks. This kid can just, what do we say, thump. He can crack. If I'm Mike Desantos, I need to get my hands on him quickly. Not recklessly, but quickly.
Both fighters toe-to-toe. They haven't gone to the ground yet, throwing some blows and doing some kicks here. Scott Noble in the red corner, Mike Desantos in the blue corner.
This is a good job by Desantos. This is where he can slow the clearly quicker, more athletic Noble down. And he's a lot bigger, leaning on him, putting that weight on him.
Luke, this is a title fight sponsored by Sand Screen Print, turning ink into art. This is 3 5-minute rounds. These guys are scheduled to go 15 minutes of fighting. Scott Noble, also known, and I don't know if you brought it up in your intro.
Yeah, certainly did.
Yeah, for one of the best kicks and got millions of views, not just in this country, around the world. Japan.
Oh, did you see him dodge over the top to the right and then hit him with a left hook to the liver? Scott Noble can bang, man. This kid is special.
Scott Noble, 25 years old, fighting out of ground control. Mike Desantos, 36 years old, fighting from Freedom MMA. Scott's lost a fight, and Mike has not, just hasn't fought as much.
At ground control, for folks who may not know, one of the pioneering MMA gyms out of Baltimore, Maryland, run by a guy named John Rollo, Renzo Gracie black belt. They continuously, guys like Binky Jones and many others, put out lots of good talent out of ground control. So Scott Noble coming from there, it tells you, you can already see he's good, but just on a resume alone, that would tell me he comes from a great camp.
This is the light heavyweight title. This is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. Noble in the red glove, Desantos in the blue gloves.
Let me make a point here real quickly. So you see how Desantos is holding him here? Now, neither guy is really a mortal threat unless they can land one big shot with a knee, but the key to effective takedown defense and cage control is doing that. It's not just stopping the initial shot. It's stopping the initial shot and moving away. Jose Aldo is the king of that. But you see a lot of guys, oh, well, look what I'm doing. The wrestler's not taking me down. We're here in a position where maybe even I'm dominating the clinch. Is this where you really want to be? You're blasting this guy from distance. Why would you want to go back there? You got to learn how to separate.
Scott Noble looks to be in total control of this fight as you saw him come with his back off the cage, spin around, couple of elbows. Just like you said, this guy's just the total package.
Desantos is hanging on him, and that's okay if you can really do something a little bit more with it. I need to see a little more striking from Desantos. Or a level change, something. So good job there from Noble, getting that right underhook. You see that? And getting his hips out. But here, there we go. Wow, and Desantos just let him turn him around there. That was bizarre. Good elbow over the top. Nice on the clinch break.
Here they go, right in front of us. Standing right in front of the max muscle.
And I like the pressure Desantos is giving him. Just got to be really careful with that. Look, because he's still able to pop and move at range. He's walking him down, Kevin, but he's not cutting the cage off. Oh, that hurt him. He's hurt.
Dropped his hands.
That hurt him. I mean, I admire the poker face, but that hurt him.
And face is red. I think that stung. I think in Noble, if he can come back. Oh, there's a good right hand. I mean, I really, like, it looks like he's having a hard time walking after that punch to the stomach.
Wouldn't you?
Yes. Well, I'd have been in the ambulance, Luke. You'd haven't been taking me to the hospital.
You know what? Well, this gives Desantos some credit here, though. All this clinching, he's taking a little bit of abuse with these sort of what I would call relatively small shots, but he's also getting the arms of Noble really tired. This is going to pay dividends if and when this fight hits that second and certainly that third round. This is what I mean when I say, yes, you stopped him. Okay, all right, fine. Get him off of you.
Noble using a lot of strength and a lot of body work just because Desantos is a taller, bigger guy, and it looks like he's trying to push him off and push him off. Noble actually looks a little tired to me.
Yeah, a little bit. What's also interesting is that when you're muscled like Noble and athletic and quick, obviously he's very technical. Look at that, getting his head off center as he jabs, circling out. And I mentioned before, guys who can go touch, and they throw a hard shot. He's mixing up the pacing there. I like that. But you see he's just kind of putting his back against the fence. this is fine for right now. It's not like Desantos is really hammering him for it, but he might be in 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, these guys are looking for the marathon, not the sprint. Not like our first title fight.
No. No, not exactly.
Good knee. And that's the end of round number 1. This title fight sponsored by Sand Screen Print, turning ink into art. A lot of things happening around the world here of our Cagezilla. Don't forget tonight, later on, you guys can stop out at the Hooters in Chantilly. They're also one of our sponsors. They got the girls out. They're providing the pizzas and the wings for the VIP section. The after party over at Hooters. Also, don't forget.
Well, let's quickly, if I can, look at the replay here just briefly. Nice knee here from Noble. Desantos staying at range. Look at that left to the body. Oh, you can see it.
He's just winching. And then his face, the rest of the fight, just still looks like it hurts.
Mike Desantos is a tough customer, man.
This is the co-main event. Scott Noble and Mike Desantos. Still to go. George Billy versus Todd Holzhauser. That'll be the title fight, the main event, coming up here in just a few minutes. Looking around the ring here and around the room, we have some Redskins in the house.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
We got Kendrick Golson. We also got Fred Smoot. We got some people from the media in here tonight. We got some folks from radio in here tonight.
By the way, Golston, I mean, my God.
Is he a big dude?
He looks like a refrigerator that's been hitting the gym.
Every time he shakes my hand, I feel like a little girl.
I mean,
thank you.
Are we the same species?
That guy's a monster.
And he's got the cutest kids, too. Oh, my God.
All right, here we go, round 2.
Talk about winning at life, man.
Round 2, Noble in the red gloves, Desantos in the blue gloves. Both guys still standing up. Couple of rights and lefts from Noble.
Much better. Look at him circling. That being Noble, of course. You know what? I think those body shots are great. Look at Noble's guard. He's tucking his chin and bringing his hands up, and that's fine. Excuse me, but you need to be really careful about that, especially with someone like Noble who's already gone to the body. I'm going to look more for that left hook, maybe a jab. You see that front side uppercut?
See, I think those kicks are wide open. I think if Noble, when he gets his hands in front of his face, he just leaves his midsection wide open.
Great point. Just got to stay off that cage.
And as such a prolific kicker as Noble is, I'm surprised he's not trying to throw that in the middle. There we go. That one stung again.
And by the way, I like what Noble did there. He touched on the guard, so he's not throwing everything he has. Yeah, get his hands up and then just crack him to the body. It just turns out that Mike Desantos is a cyborg from the year 2050, sent back in time to show us how tough he is.
I mean, he's standing flat-footed.
Yeah, this is like a Dutch-style kickboxing
just standing there.
To your point, though, you made it last round, Kevin. I think you're right. Noble looks winded here, man.
Yeah, and it was one of those, it was a constant pressure that Desantos keeps putting on him. It's not laying on him on the ground. He's putting pressure on him against the cage.
Also, credit to Desantos, just standing in the pocket with him. Not one takedown attempt from him. Nice front uppercuts from Desantos here in the clinch. And it's funny, look who's initiating the clinch now. Noble. He's tired, Kevin.
Yeah.
Now watch on the clinch break, see who throws one over the top. Let's see here. When they break, that'll tell you who's a little bit more, I don't know, having presence of mind. And you can see it's still Noble a little bit.
Both guys just leaning on each other. This is a long time. Big bodies, long time. 15 minutes. I always think 15 minutes isn't that long. And then I'm like, it's an eternity when they're in there just scrapping and fighting.
This is great. He's doing that sort of Nicky Holtzkin touch, crack that I like. More of it, more going to the body. There's just uncontested. And to your point, again, it's not like this is the most aesthetically pleasing style of fighting.
Right.
But, you know, we have a wrestling program at Beta, and many schools do, of course. And there's this drill we do where it's 3 minutes on, 1 minute off. Let me tell you something. Just wrestling. No strikes. Just wrestling.
Right.
I mean, by the third round,
you're just tired.
You are just sucking.
Yeah.
I had to stop using a mouthpiece because I just couldn't get enough air in.
You're just tired. Good knee from Noble. Desantos ducked right into that.
Man, if one guy had just a little bit more energy,
there's another knee,
and they could pour on some shots here. This is just that Matt Lindland, Kyle Baker. That's a blast from the past. Kyle Baker style of fighting. Got to finish him.
Good knee.
A lot of guys thinking they have these walk-off KOs.
He almost looked like that. He almost just started to walk away and just forgot about it. It was like he hit him and he was done.
A lot of times these guys, when they fall face forward, that's worse than when they fall back. Not always, but a lot. And I think maybe that's what he saw, but you know, he's still there. Mike, look at that. They're now digging for an underhook.
Noble sees his chance, trying to throw the rights and lefts as he tries to mount.
Unless something crazy happens, that's likely going to win him the round. Not that he wasn't already winning, but good job there. Didn't get back into the fence. Nicely done.
That's one of those ones where he lulled us to sleep because we're sitting there and we heard it before we saw it.
Honestly, I think if he just poured it on here, just started cracking him, even if he was blocking him, he would, or just back away and knee him to the ribs.
Yeah.
Knees, listen, in MMA you can't knee or kick the head of a downed opponent, but their body is open season. That's it.
That's it.
And he's not defending himself.
Yeah.
He had to do it.
He finished. All right, King stopped the fight with about 40 seconds left to go in round number 2, and that's the winner that you see jumping around in there. Scott Noble goes to 5-1 here at Cagezilla. What a great fight. You know what? I mean, I know it wasn't the most aesthetic like you said, but it was still Scott Noble's fight the whole time, I thought. And
putting together the kind of resume you need to take a step up to the next level. Putting the skills in place with the scenarios that you're given, and developing into the kind of fighter you need to be.
Yeah.
So
and
he
see
drops,
after the knee, it's like he went the wrong direction.
Yeah, and he looked at him. He even looked at Noble.
Looked to see if he was going to just tap or just be done, or if the referee, Mike King, was going to stop it. Now, there's the stop just because he wasn't defending himself.
He was just laying there getting beat on. And maybe those weren't the most damaging strikes in the world.
Right.
But that's enough to get someone who's just not doing anything.
All right, up next, it's our main event here, sponsored by Domino's. It's the flyweight title between George Billy and Todd Holzhauser. When we come back, that is the fight of the night. It's Luke Thomas, Kevin Schaefer, Cagezilla.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the referee stops the fight with 4 minutes and 22 seconds into round number 2. Winner, out of the red corner, is Scott Noble.
Scott Noble taking the stoppage win over Mike Desantos. Having a little bit of issues with the cardio, but nevertheless, he's got the belts around his waist, showing fantastic striking. And what I liked most, making the adjustments from round 1 to round 2. Good clincher, you can see, strong, pulling his head down, pulling his neck down, wearing on the lower back, and then landing that crushing knee, which sent him onto all fours. Maybe didn't finish up the way he was supposed to, but eventually got the job done here. Scott Noble, of course, winning the light heavyweight title and looking like a beast doing it. We'll have more action just like that when we come back. This is Cagezilla.